notice at the top of your screen now in a second, just to say that the recording has been on. So again, if you can see yourself on the screen, you're on the recording. So firstly, I'd just like to introduce Gary Toher. Gary Toher is the new Cushton and No chairperson, picking up halfway through this year and ready to roll full steam for 2021. So Gary and myself have been working behind the scenes for the last little while on this Super Series offering. So I'll just open the presentation. Gary, you can come in there and you can take everybody through the presentation. Thanks everyone for now.
Okay, thanks Damien. Hiya everybody, hope it's a good evening. So basically we wanted to run people through what we thought was an innovative series of football that we may have, depending on how things are going to go in the rest of the country. So we have to plan going forward anyhow. So this is in the autumn. Starting approximately in 2 weeks' time. So we came up with an idea then that we could run at 3 age levels. And if all the clubs were able to enter in at 3 age levels, we were going to offer some various flexibilities in players playing up, playing down, different nights for games, etc., etc. So if you move on there, Damien, to the next one, the idea of the current situation was that many of you came and said that, are we going to run with a new competition? Are we going to run with an extension of under 14s, an extension of minors? So instead of running with the same old, we thought we'd do something a little bit different. Is there someone there with the mic on? If you want to switch that off, there's feedback coming through there. So with the year that's in it, we thought we'd go out on a limb and try something different. There's no league football this year, so most of the underage sections were straight into championship football, and we noted from a number of games that they would play their best sides, meaning that the 2-year age gap, the players of the younger age would more than likely miss out on a lot of football. So it was the 15-year-old or the under 15 at under 16, it was the under 13 at under 14. With the change to odd ages in 2021, players born 03, 05 and 07 will have to wait until 2022 to play at an age grade in their final year. So as you know, we don't have enough players in the county to have an age grade for every year. So there is a 2-year gap. And these guys that were what we deemed missing out on some football would have to wait on another couple of years before they were the kingpins of the team. County under 17 starting up, a large number of players will be unavailable at the club as well. So that would be 16, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. So by playing the same old competitions, it would be difficult for some teams to keep it together. So the experimental competition, it was an opportunity here to run at a 15-a-side football. Now, just to clarify, the younger age group will have to run at 13-a-side. But for the middle age group, juveniles and the youths at the top end, there was an opportunity here to offer 15-a-side football to teams that probably never experienced it and probably won't experience it unless they enter into amalgamations. A single division, so that would mean we toyed with the idea of not grading the teams like tradition and put everybody into an open draw. In order to do that and have the smaller clubs or weaker clubs, to have them compete with the traditional stronger and larger clubs, we would have to come up with some idea to equalise the teams. So the idea of that would be for a stronger year to be allowed to play down by us getting named players from you before the competition would start. And also, this competition at Super Youths would capture the 18-and-a-half-year-old, the 19-year-old, and potentially the 20-year-old. These guys left minor football, and they didn't have minor football this year, 2020. Some, maybe not all, probably failed to get command a place on a junior, intermediate, or senior side. So these guys were really looking forward to some football before the year's out. So the creation, go back one, Damien. So the creation of the Super Youths. So we refrained from calling them a under 19, under 15, under 13 competition. So because we were allowing some players to play down, so we decided to create a Super Youths, a 15-a-side competition, as I explained, single division. Players born in 01, 02, and 03, and lower if an 04 was strong enough. So we're not limiting that level. Okay, so that would be your 19, 18, and 17-year-old. And if there was very strong 16-year-olds, there's no reason why they can't make up this team. To equalise the team and to equalise those clubs I mentioned, smaller clubs, weaker clubs, we would allow a born 2000, a 20-year-old to play down, depending on the club's seeding. So we would request then before competition starts pre-agreed names of born 2000s that would be allowed to play down. We would offer each club, based on the previous year's results, a seeding system and a number of players that they would be able to draw from. So the Super Juveniles then, so that would move us down to players born 05, 06, and 04. So there's a age category there that would allow those players to play together, equalise teams by bringing the 04s, the 16-year-old, play down. So those 04s kind of fall between two stools on this competition. So this would be the first example then of the born 04, the strong 16-year-old, being coaches and mentors deciding, well, okay, I have 6 16-year-olds. Are 3 of them strong enough to play up in Super Youths? And do 3 of them will I bring them down into the Super Juveniles because maybe they need some confidence building, maybe they need some catch up on some skills, and if you brought them down, they probably would get more of the ball, there would be more produce more on the field, or impose their personality better on a team that's younger than them. So that would be where the idea of an 04, and up to you coaches to and club people to decide which way for them to go. So again, there would be a pre-grade names born of 06 to allow to play down.
Sorry, Gary, that's the next one there.
Yeah, sorry, 04, sorry, yeah. Okay, so the Super Teens, as I mentioned, this am I correct, Damien, this has to go 13 aside?
Yeah, national. So if you were talking under 13, then and at this moment in time, the assumption is that most of those players would be under 13 until you start doing the grading. So I think it's easier for everyone if we leave it at 13 aside.
So this competition at Super Teens, we didn't want to call this under 13s because we're very interested on the younger under 14s to play down, because it was the born 07 year that would have missed out some football this year in a number of clubs. By the club playing their stronger under 14 side, their stronger 14-year-olds, we felt that the 13-year-old was a very important age, and that guy needed some football. So this competition is built for that guy at 07. Building the team with your 08s, which would be your under 12s this year, and your younger under 12s. We're not limiting clubs not to dip into the 09s, because there would be very good 11-year-olds coming through that would relish an opportunity to play with the bigger lads. So in order to equalise teams again, to play the stronger clubs, the stronger teams, we would allow a certain amount of players born 06, the older under 14 to play downwards. And again, we would seed each club and pre-agree names born of 06 to allow to play down. So there's benefits to this insofar as we continue to play some football, fielding as our own unit. The encouragement here is to field as your own unit. Okay, now we do understand that there is limited numbers in certain clubs that have traditionally hooked up with as an amalgamation and have been together for quite some time. So that's understandable moving forward. Equalising measures, all units can compete at the same level. So look at it's not a championship, it's not a league, it's autumn football. It could be deemed a bit of fun. It gives a shot at some smaller clubs to take the field in a 13-a-side or 15-side competition with some bigger clubs that they may never meet due to grading in divisions in Longford currently. Potentially it gives every player born 01 to 08 have been given an opportunity to play in their own right as a strong player from under 12s to under 19s. But the exception is we don't have an under 17 competitions, but the 03s are still catered for. The underage sections, they're not adversely affected due to the number of players they have at the county panel, and this proposal helps introduce the odd age groups. So it gives us a taster, I suppose, of odd ages and how it works in individual clubs. So with the pending change to odd ages come January next year, and everybody that read my introduction to knows where I stand on that. If we are going to move forward, we can't always be sitting on the fence and wondering what we're going to do until the 31st of March or sometimes mid-April every year, because we cannot put a 3 to 5 year plan in place at underage if we don't know what we're going to do by Christmas of the previous year. So this proposal helps introduce that type of thing, that we would have a predominantly an under 19, an under 15 and under 13 competition. Okay, so what I would suggest then is everybody in their own unit list their players. Very simple, from born each year, 01 all the way to 09, and categorise their players in whatever fashion you want. Whether a guy is able to play up, it would be better for a guy to play down, etc. So you would be asked to complete the online expression of interest then after that. From the end of tomorrow, it was sent out in the email to you on this proposal, and it allows you then to choose which category your club want. Maybe all three, maybe the top and the bottom, maybe the middle. Underage sections then will be contacted to submit your names and year of birth for your any starting 15 level player who is unavailable for the duration of the competition, whether it's injury, whether it's county panel, etc. So we need to know the named players that are unavailable to you due to whatever it has caused that, and then we can make an allowance. So as well as county under 17 panel, the above names will be ineligible for the duration of the competitions. So what we'll do is, with these lists and results for 2019-2020, we will seed the clubs for the various competitions. So the seeding isn't just based on competition, it's based on what county players you're losing, what players may be unavailable to you due to any circumstance. Once this seeding is done, we'll complete. We will award then to each club an equalising player, a number of players, or a player that can play down to equalise to the rest. This will be done by Damien and myself, and it will be done in the fairest manner possible. And as I said, guys, we don't want to get into nitty-gritty arguments on this point. We just want clubs to understand that this will be done fairly, and this is just about giving it a go and giving young lads a bit of football in the environment that they may not come across in the future, especially from the lower seeded clubs. There may be not an opportunity for them players to field for 15-a-side football against bigger clubs. Underage sections to forward the name. So what we would like then, once we have that all settled, we would like then to receive the names of the squad, of the equalising players, and the list of the squad partaking in each unit, just that we keep just an eye on the overall proceedings and make sure that's everybody is comfortable then. After that, we look at the format. We sent out an example format in the proposal. We'll make draws. We'll create fixtures. We do acknowledge, and we're totally up to speed on where other sports are sitting at the moment. We're pretty clued in. We've spoken to other sports in order, because in Longford we're pulling from the same gene pool of kids. We all understand that. So we'll try and be as flexible as possible on fixtures. And we'll see how it goes. Thanks, Damien, for that. Damien was instrumental in helping me put this together, and he will be more clued in on some of the questions that come in. So I'll ask Damien to pick up on some of the cues. We've had a lot of people call in, email in. I visited a few clubs over the last week on this, and the same questions are coming up, but they're genuine questions. They're good inquiries.
Okay, thanks, Gary. So I'm just working on the phone here as well, keeping an eye on. I'll try and leave this slide up for as long as I can and see if I can work stuff off the phone. But if anybody has a question to ask there, you can use the little symbol there, the raise the hand symbol, stick it up, and then I'll call you in, or you can type it into the text box, and we can answer the question coming from there. Or if anybody needs Gary or myself to go back on anything that he had touched on. As Gary has said, we got a lot of phone calls last week and even a couple up until today. Hopefully most people that are interested have a fair understanding of what's going on at the minute. Just if there's any clarity that's needed, we'll try and bring it to you here now. And then just going back here, so the online expression of interest, a couple of clubs have this already completed. So if off the back of tonight and the answers to the questions, every club can complete it tomorrow with whatever your thoughts are, we can start then the rest of this process about planning and going forward. So okay, so or is Diarmuid Riley. If you want to turn on your mic there and you can ask your question.
Hi, Demo. How you doing? Hi, guys.
Thanks.
Hi, Gary.
How you doing?
Yeah, so look, I suppose, Damien, I was talking to you about this already, and I suppose I kind of had a look at it there in terms of our situation, and there are clubs like us, Clongish and Slashers, and there's some clubs with big numbers. So the problem I can see us having is that we have big numbers. We get put into it's an open draw. There's only one competition really associated with this. So if I have 30 players to start with before you even start going down to 2006, I've got a bit of a dilemma for a 13-a-side competition. So I'm just wondering, have you any ideas or thoughts on how that will be addressed? Because I know we'll probably need to be competitive with the likes of Clongish and Slashers and Grandard, at that age level, we probably will need 1 or 2 players that are 2006. So it's just something that I wanted to ask about what your opinions are on that.
Okay, so this year and last year at under 12, you had fielded 2 teams. There's a couple of clubs that have done that, and it has been great, and you're reaping the benefits off the back of this. A couple of things to bear in mind. At this age grade, girls are unavailable. Girls can't play once you go beyond under 12. One of the primary reasons for this competition is to give football to players who wouldn't have got football. So you're right, you do have a dilemma with that number of players, and potentially the way the competition will be organised is that there will be a cup and a shield. So if you decided as a club that, look, we're not going to use any of the equalising players, we're just going to try and challenge ourselves and play at the higher level and use those players that we have, and maybe leave out that under 11 group that will be getting under 12 again next year. The way the competition will play itself out is, just say for argument's sake, there were 16 teams in it. 8 of them will qualify for a cup and 8 of them will qualify for a shield, for a knockout game in some form. So there's a little element to that as a sliding scale, the competition will either get stronger or weaker as you go along. But I suppose a few questions that you have to answer for your own club and what's best for it going forward. But one of our primary reasons is to provide football for players that wouldn't have got it in the last 2 months. So I hope that sort of touches on it, Dermot.
Dermot, it's a good dilemma to have, and I just have a sheet here that I was given by another club today with all their list of names and birth years on it, and it has the same dilemma. And this club has indicated at the super teens lower end, younger competition, that it's designed for 07, and they're taking a lot of 07s that were kind of sitting on the bench this year at under 14s, and they're going to build a team around that 07. They're going to bring in they have huge numbers on under 12s this year, so they have a lot of 08s to bring in on that. Suddenly they're into a big squad, and they're actually decided, no, we don't want an equalising player. For all it's worth, they know other clubs will be bringing down some 06s. They've decided not to bring down 06s and give it a go, because they want them 07s to really play and be the leaders in that. So they've made that decision that way. In my own club as well, we're looking at that decision because we've so many 07s and 08s. We've decided we're not going near 09s. They had a fantastic competition this year in the under 12s mini leagues. So I suppose different clubs are going to make different decisions on that.
And just to finish off there again on the under 12, like any mentor with under 12 would have got the text about if you want to extend your season and organise challenge matches going forward. Obviously there was the link that you need to fill out for the permission and insurance cover. And other than that, we'd encourage people to continue to do that and provide their players with matches. Dermot, if you can just click the hand button again to lower your hand, and Patrick Cahill has his hand up there. So Patrick, if you want to turn on your mic.
Can you hear me, Damien?
Yeah, good, Patrick, thanks.
Yeah, so Patrick Cahill from Callin Questions is here, and thanks to the lads on a very well presented webinar. But my question would be, at the Super Youths group, which is an under 19 group, with the possibility of under 20 players dropping down in age. Under GAA rule at the moment, players can't jump up 2 grades, and there will be under 16 players in that competition playing against under 20 players, which could be a 15-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. And I'm just wondering, and otherwise, that either a 15-year-old will be playing against a 20-year-old, or the 15-year-olds that are playing in one club won't get game time because they have to compete against 20-year-olds and 19-year-olds for positions. So my question is, why don't we just go with under 18, with under 19 players dropping down to fill the gap that is being left by the county under 17 team players that have been named on that? Why isn't it just why don't we just go with under 18 rather than under 20 players coming down?
Okay, so there's a couple of reasons there. Hopefully I'll remember them all, and I'll try and tick them off one by one. With 30 players in a county under 17 team, it would make it very difficult to field in an under 18 competition. So when the special minor was played, a lot of those games were played at 11 aside back in February or March time. If you went under 18, again, you're now dipping into what the middle age grade would be. So by doing under 18, you'd have to drop out a middle age grade. So you could only do 2 grades. That was 2 of them. Third one. Oh yeah, so like every team, pretty much every unit in the county was able to field a minor team both last year and this year. They would all be the players that would be moving in onto the super youths. And then the other option then is that the 90, this captures all those lads born 01, but in that under 18 option, it wouldn't capture all those guys. So highly probable most of those 01s didn't play adult football this year, and possibly could be lost again for whether they play it next year or not. So a number of reasons there, and we did look at just keeping the even age grades, but the bigger driver to all of this was the point that Gary made at the beginning about the 05, 07 and 05, 03, 01, that those guys will be 2022 before they get to play football in their last year. And it's just, for me personally anyway, it's just too much. So hopefully that answers some of those queries, Patrick. If anybody else wants to follow up on a similar point, you can raise your hand there.
Damien, I just ask, is that being enforced that every county has to go to the odd age groups by 2021?
So again, a lot has happened in the last 6 months, but convention was held in whatever that was, end of February or whatever, and then obviously there was a decision made there, and it came back down to Longford that if we wanted to run at even ages, we had to seek approval. And when we did seek approval, it was rejected on the first time, and we had to go back and put a case in. So as you all know, there was a big waiting period there to get fixtures organised at the start of the year, and then obviously the middle of March came. So as Gary has highlighted, he wants to have clarity and certainty in what we're going doing for 2021 to be able to offer all our clubs a very comprehensive offer, and then ultimately for the players to be able to give them a proper playing season. And if we have the uncertainty of what age grade we're going or not going, it makes that quite a hindrance. And as the majority of counties and the way the decision was been made, that it was making it more and more difficult to be staying at the even age grades if you're not running the odd age grades. Again, that's Gary will be going to Cushion and Ogan, he'll be going to the county board to try and get that clarity in the weeks and months ahead.
Okay. But just if it's not being enforced, it's not. All the clubs in Longford so far have decided to keep it to even age groups, and Carrick Sarsfields would still continue to vote that way. We don't think that the age groups are better off at odd, and we think there's a massive player dropout at under 18, under 19 level, and there's no football guaranteed for them lads if we go to under 17, and that would be the opinion in our club.
So just on that, Patrick, the point that you started with was making about looking for an under 18, and the reason now you're saying that there's dropout above that. This age grade gives you a level above that to try and prevent the dropout. So
yeah, guys, can I just pull you up on this one now? And thanks, Damien, for answering. And Patrick, thanks for your. I don't want this to get into a debate about odd age, even age. I just want this to continue us look at the autumn league, and I do thank you, Damien, for your answers, and I do thank you, Patrick, for your question. But can we get back on point here, please, on the autumn leagues? And I feel that we should we should definitely debate this, and the intentions is to debate this question Patrick has in the next coming weeks, and from a question no point of view. So I hope we can take another one there. Michael Hand has his hand up.
Okay, thanks lads.
Yeah, no, listen, I was only coming in, Gar, saying that but listen, you've answered there that the only show in town is odd age groups. We've had this argument for the last 4 fucking years. I'm not going to spend another bloody winter or summer having it again. The odd age groups will pass the convention. That's the way it'll go, like it or lump it. Thanks, Gar.
Okay, guys, can we just hold on the odd age, even age debate? Thank you going forward. And any questions, queries on this autumn league for now, please.
Again, if anyone wants to put anything into the text box there, if you don't want to talk, you can just type it in and I'll bring it up. Mick, if you just click your hand there to drop it again, please.
Sorry, Emma.
No hassle, thanks. Dermot, in you come.
Sorry, yeah, another question. I'm just wondering, have you considered for if there's a strong under 13, let's say, who's named on the under 15 panel, or there's a strong under 15 playing in the under 19 panel, have you considered maybe not making them eligible for the lower grade?
Yeah, so we've had some conversations. You know, if there was somebody, we just pick one age grade there. So say the upper one. So if there was a 0-4 Bert that happened to start on a club's a minor team for the last 2 years, then there would need to be a strong argument made that that guy wouldn't be allowed play down, that he would only be eligible for one age grade. So, you know, I suppose there's a lot of things to happen. First is that the units express their interest in it. Secondly is we get the list of players that are unavailable to a club, whether that be through another sport or through injury. And then we look at the seasons and kind of work it back that way. So anyone that I have spoke to, and Gary as well, all that we could do is ensure people that we will put a lot of effort and time into trying to do this as well as we can. There's no guarantee we'll get it perfect, but it won't be from the want of effort and trying and grinding through the numbers and all the rest to do it as best we can. But yeah, look, there's a real willingness there on both of our behalves to try and do that. Philip Quinn there first.
Damien, apologies because I came in late. Just on the upper and the lower age groups, say if it was 04, can 04 play on the 19s and then go back and play on the lower age group, or 04s just play on the, or 04s just to play down below on the lower age group?
So an 04 would only be able to play in the middle one and potentially the upper one. So it would be an 06 that could play in the lower one. So
right.
there should be no reason why any player would be, in any shape or form, be able to play on 3 grades. But there are a couple of years there where potentially, depending on, you know, numbers a given club might have, say they might have only 4 06s or something, then maybe they might need to go both ways. But again, a lot of this will be looked at on a case by case.
So 04s can play the high and the middle group then, really?
An 04 is a 16-year-old, potentially, yeah.
Yeah, potentially they can overlap, Philip, yes.
Yeah, that's great. No, because I know number-wise for our end, I know 04s will be needed to play the upper and also play the middle group though as well.
Yeah, there'll be a few clubs in that boat, but like what we're trying to do there is the 04 player, if the strong lads, they need a challenge. We can't neglect the strong lads. They need a challenge and can play up. But if you had enough numbers, it would be the 04s that wouldn't be as strong to play down and get confidence back into them guys.
Yeah,
that's
perfect.
what we're trying to do. But again, it's the numbers game again, Philip. Yeah,
100%, Gary. Thanks, boys.
Paul Harrigan there.
Yeah, just a quick question, like it was similar to Philip's really, but building on Philip's. the under-19 competition. If we're not fit to field 15 aside, is it optional to go 13 aside in some games?
So I'll only give my opinion, and me and Gary have talked a lot. One of our top focuses is to provide football and allow matches to take place. So as regards to organising the fixtures, the older and the younger group would be on the one evening, potentially probably a Sunday evening. The middle group on a Saturday evening. Clubs would have the facility to rearrange those fixtures, particularly clubs that have lights. The same way under 12 works really well as regards to reorganising a fixture. But again, looking on it a case by case situation, everybody going into it with the same willingness to provide football for their players, and coming to agreements that matches can go ahead. I don't see a major drama there, but you wouldn't like it to be going at 13 to end up at 12 or 11 because somebody got injured. I think you're just stretching yourself too much. So again, anyone else there with any questions, or if Gary wants to wrap it up?
Yeah, okay. So I don't see anyone else coming in there. Is there messages there? Damien, have you seen anything? Okay. So just to recap on, really, thanks Damien for answering those questions and being on the ball with a few of those. To recap, there's an idea behind this. Okay, there's an overall ethos in this, is to get football into players that need football, to get challenging football into those strong, better lads, to see how they cope, to get softer football into the lads that need to be built up, to be flexible with the opposition, going, I have only 13 today, I have only 14 aside. And also with us being flexible back to you, going, you can't play Saturday because of something. All my players have gone to rugby. I can't play Sunday because they're knackered after a soccer match. Well, if you have lights or something like that, we can do a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, and all that to be flexible. So there's an overall sense of what I want in this is a sense of community in this. It's just a bit of fun. It's a bit of football. It's experimental at 3 different age grades, and we're allowing some stronger players play down, weaker players or younger players play up, and just to see how it goes. We don't want to be getting dragged into heavy details and having arguments over this. Some clubs said, well, look at the middle age group. I'll go in at the top end, I'll go in at the lower end, loads of numbers at the lower end. It seems to be county-wide, but that's the way it happens. But at the middle section, I won't be competitive. That's not a reason not to enter. Just give it a go. You don't know what the draw is going to be. You don't know what group you're going to be in. And if you do lose your 2 games and in a group, you are into a quarter final of a Shield. So you're going to be playing other teams that may not have been competitive in their group. So see how it goes with every club is different, of course. So
Gary, just a comment in there from an Egan. So how do we split 11 players born in 04? Surely they want to play together. So again, those 04s, they're under 16. So in theory, if they're all at the same level, they should have played a full season together at under 16. They would all be eligible to play up in the upper age grade, and then as a club, you have a decision to make that, if you want to be in the middle age grade, do a number of those players, as Gary had said, if you were awarded a number of 04 players to play down, do a number of those, would they be better served in playing down while they can still stay together at the age grade that they're into? And again, a lot of people understand the under 19, under 15, under 13 better than the super youths, the super juveniles, the super teens. But really, for the benefit of players, we as a group of people and ye as coaches need to refrain from using that under something, because a player might, if they're a 20-year-old, well, I'm a 20-year-old, why should I play under 19? Or I'm a 16-year-old, why should I play under 15? So I think it serves us all better if we avoid using that terminology when we're promoting this, and we won't be using it. So we just plead that you don't either. So I hope that answered that question. So I suppose just to wrap up, Gary finished off there. If anybody else wants to put in a comment or ask a question, just throw up your hand there and we'll call you in. Otherwise, we'll bid you for night.
Thanks, guys.
Don't crash the system, guys, now with all the expressions of interest.
Yeah, I'd say that's it, Gary. Everybody, thanks again for committing your time to doing this and showing your interest. And again, if anybody wants to follow up with Gary and myself tomorrow by phone, feel free. We've been taking, as we said, lots of calls all week. So work away there and complete the expression of interest one way or the other. And we'll know where everybody's at, and we'll try and move this thing on a little bit. Thanks to everyone.
Okay, super, guys. Thanks very much. Have a good evening.
Thanks, lads.